Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Ryan Rastall here for Golfshake.com. We are in the Performance Centre at Howley Hall Golf Club here in Leeds, and today we've got the new Stealth 2 family of drivers to take a look at from TaylorMade. So following on from the success of last year's Stealth release, TaylorMade bring you Stealth 2. There are some subtle refinements to last year, mainly cosmetic, but also from a forgiveness standpoint as well. We're going to put them through their paces here in the Performance Centre, compare all three models against each other, and tell you exactly what we think when we compare it to last year's Stealth. We've got three very distinct different models, so we'll talk you through them now. We've got the Stealth Plus, which is the one that's aimed at your slightly higher clubhead speed player, maybe someone who wants slightly lower spin as well. Looks a little bit more kind of traditional when we look down on it in that playing position, and we don't see the kind of red halo around the back of the golf club that we do in the other two models. When we look at Stealth 2, if we look at that, we can see that little red kind of halo around the back of the driver there as we sit it in the playing position. We've also got slightly more neutral weighting. It should be a little bit higher launching and maybe a little bit higher spin, so maybe for that player who wants to get the ball in the air a little bit more. And then we also have the HD or high draw model as well, which, as the name suggests, the weight is a little bit more biased towards that kind of draw shape, or certainly move towards the heel more, so that player who maybe hits a bit of a slice is going to straighten that slice up ever so slightly with this model compared to the standard Stealth 2. Like I say, we've got the perimeter weight in here as well, this aluminium part in the back of the head. We've got the speed pocket, which has been really popular. Obviously the face is the main talking point with the carbon face that we saw introduced last year, which again stays with a twist face in there as well. We've still got the adjustability in there as well, so able to move this driver up and down by as much as 2 degrees, and also we'll change the lie a little bit in that as well. So that might be something that suits that player who, you know, maybe if we've got that big slice going on and we're coming across it with an open face, having that slight bit more upright lie can help us to get that ball starting on target a little bit more. In the Plus model, we can see we've got a movable weight track as well, so we can slide this weight up and down the track there to make it slightly more draw or fade bias should we want to. It's 15 grams the weight in there, so quite a significant amount of weight really that we can move around in the head. Let's stop talking, let's go and hit them and see exactly how all three of these models compare. So the first one I've got is the HD. I'm going to use the same shaft in all of these drivers just so it's a bit of a fair comparison, and that the one I found that kind of works best for me is the Kylie one that we got sent, the Mitsubishi one. I think it looks nice in the playing position. We've got that nice red kind of halo, I suppose, around the back of the driver there. It's certainly high. We've got a bit of a draw on it. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of doing exactly what I thought it would. It's slightly higher launching. We're getting it in the air a little bit more, but feels pretty good, to be honest. The actual feel off the carbon face, a lot of people are kind of still a bit reserved about that and don't know whether they're going to like that, but certainly from a first hit that was pretty good too. So we're now moving on to the standard Stealth 2 driver without the draw bias in there as well. I'm expecting it to feel pretty similar to the HD one that we just tried, but let's hit a few. In the setup position, it pretty much looks identical. I can't really tell any difference. We've still got that nice red kind of bit around the back of the driver there, which I quite like. You can just see the red of the face, which looks quite good, and that TaylorMade symbol obviously on the top of the driver there. So again, set in exactly the same setting. I mean, straight away, just by looking at the flight on the Trackman, it's slightly lower. I don't know whether that's just because the head's weighted ever so slightly differently and we haven't got that draw bias and a bit more launch in there, but the way that it's set is exactly the same. I've hit one shot and that's come out with about 1,000 RPM less spin. Like I say, we'll get into the numbers a little bit more later on when we compare them all, but certainly from just one hit there, it did feel quite a bit different to the HD model. So then when we move on to Stealth 2 Plus, right, we've got obviously the movable weight track, which I've set pretty neutral. Again, 8 degrees is the way I've set it, which is kind of what I would normally have my driver at. Looks a bit different though when we sit it in the playing position, particularly when we look down on it. We don't see that red bit around the back of the driver this time. It's a bit cleaner looking, maybe a bit more traditional, and I think without that, it makes the head look slightly smaller, which I don't mind at all, to be honest. I think it looks really good. Felt pretty good, decent strike, a little bit down the right hand side, kind of mistimed it a little bit. It certainly feels a bit more powerful off the face as well. We'll probably see that more when we get to look at the stats when we get into comparing all the models, but certainly feels nice and solid off the face. Sounds a little bit different to the other two models, so sounds a bit duller, kind of lower pitch when you hit it. I've actually been lucky enough to get out and play a couple of rounds with this driver so far, and I've actually found it really, really good. So I'm expecting this to perform the best, but who knows. But let's now compare all three. Let's hit a few shots on the Trackman Performance Center, and then we'll have a bit of a look and see which one comes out on top. So now that we've hit all three of these new Stealth 2 drivers, we can see a bit of a difference in how they perform, and to some extent, some of it was a little bit surprising. So we started with the Stealth 2 HD, so the high draw. And certainly when we look at the numbers there and look at the ball flight, it's definitely going high. It's not really drawing a lot though. I mean, certainly didn't really feel like it was wanting to turn over too much. It was definitely launching higher, spinning more. So for that player who maybe hits down, chops across it a little bit and kind of flights it quite low, this driver is going to help you get that little bit more launch that you need. And certainly when we look at the launch angles, comparing the three drivers here, I was delivering this with significantly more dynamic loft than I was the other two. They're all set at the same loft. Some of that's down to obviously my technique and the inconsistency, but also the way that the driver works and trying to get that bit more elevation, the way the face is designed, the way the head is weighted, everything is about trying to get that bit more launch and spin for that type of player. When we move on to the standard Stealth 2 driver, we can see the flight comes down a little bit, the spin drops a little bit, but still it's quite a nice high flight really. You know, we're swinging these pretty much the same across the board, so around the 116 mile an hour mark. I must say that swinging it at that speed with the shafts that we had here, so I used the Kylie shaft, which is the one I found to be the most robust, but it still felt pretty soft at that sort of speed, and it wasn't extra stiff that I was using. So it definitely backs up that go and get custom fitted kind of standpoint, because it might be that that shaft's great for you. It might be that you need something a little bit stiffer, and particularly kind of tip end of the shaft a bit stiffer to help control it. I just felt like I lost control of the head and the feel wasn't quite right at the sort of normal speed that I would swing at. When we look at Stealth 2, it's good. Yeah, I mean, the numbers we're getting around just short of that 300 yard mark as an average is always good. The spins come down now under 3,000 RPM. But then when we look at Stealth 2 Plus, which is the one I thought was going to suit me the best, and guess what? It did. So if we look at the numbers there, carry-wise, it's carrying as far as the HD was going total. So we can see that lower spin, lower launch, ball speed's a little bit faster as well. So everything about the way that Stealth 2 Plus driver is designed is helping a player like me who generally spins it a lot, hits it a little bit harder, maybe needs that spin to drop, but also wants the ball speed there as well. It also felt a bit easier to control. Weirdly, same shaft in absolutely every head. That one felt the most stable. I don't know why, but it did. It just felt like I could control where I wanted the ball to start a bit more. It'd be interesting to try these out again when we get some better weather, get out there and test them a bit more, get out on the golf course and hit some shots with them as well. And I'm sure we'll have some content in the new year coming where we compare not just this family, but also all the new releases that are coming out at the start of 2023. So hopefully you've enjoyed that video. I've certainly loved testing them, as I always do. And we've got lots more to come for the start of the new year here on the Golfshake YouTube channel. If you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button, see loads more content from all of us here to help you play more and play better. And I'll see you all very soon.